So much for a finale, huh? Well, it looks like we're getting more John Wick movies, whether you want them or not. Now, John Wick as a franchise has been really good about establishing pieces in its universe that I think could be great down the road for future spin-offs, and we're actually finally getting some of those spin-offs. You're getting the Continental show on Peacock this fall, Ana de Armas is starring in a ballerina spin-off based off the characters from John Wick 3. Yeah, John Wick 3. And now we're getting a John Wick 5. So let's talk about that. But of course, in order to talk about John Wick 5, full spoiler alert for John Wick Part 4. Alright, last chance. Full spoiler alert for John Wick Chapter 4. If you don't want anything John Wick Chapter 4 related, spoil for you here. Leave now, so we can talk about John Wick 5 and how are they going to do this, because John dies at the end of the fourth one. I'll be straight up with you. I didn't believe that John was actually dead at the end of the fourth one. He might actually be, I'm not sure, but I never got the impression leading into John Wick Chapter 4 that this was going to be the final one. I always got the sense from Lionsgate that they wanted to make as many movies as possible because John Wick is the bread and butter of Lionsgate right now. That is the, you don't have to make it for a whole lot of money and it'll make you a lot of money in return. And in fact, this was the highest grossing film in the franchise so far. John Wick Chapter 4 made a lot of money. Each passing movie has made more and more. That first one was a sleeper hit that found new life on DVD and Blu-ray and whatnot. And the second one did well. Third one did well. Now the fourth one is the highest grossing film in the franchise. And now in a recent earnings call, the head of Lionsgate, it's like, oh yeah, we're in very early stages of a John Wick Chapter 4, to which some people are already outraged. And I completely understand the outrage, but at the same time, at least for me personally, I never bought that John Wick Chapter 4 was the ending. If it was meant to be the ending, and if it is the ending of Keanu Reeves' tenure as this character, I would be more than content with it. I think they send off the character in a perfect way. That being said, in this world of wacky, ridiculous assassin jargon, anything is really possible. We haven't gone full-on Fast and the Furious in terms of all resurrections are possible. Here's looking at you, unmarked characters that have returned numerous times. Let's not spoil Fast and Furious. We'll spoil John Wick 4 instead. The fact that we never actually see a body, that's kind of my rule of thumb, just in action movies, horror movies. If you don't see the body, you don't see the damage that's been inflicted on this person, they could always come back. And I know some people are like, well, he got shot point blank a few times. John has suffered so much worse. That's what I thought of. I don't know if they'll ever actually kill him off permanently in this franchise. One, because he makes too much money. And two, Keanu has been through the ringer in this franchise. Like, getting hit by a car, been thrown out of a building. Pretty sure he got blown up at one point or another, or was involved in an explosion. So in a shootout with 3 pistol bullets, granted they're like old school, like pistol built guns, but I never bought that 3 shots is what's going to take this guy down. Who knows? Maybe it's a permanent thing and they're going to beg and plead Keanu Reeves and director Chad Stahelski to come out and be like, we need you to keep making more of these, provided we're still going to make more of the spinoffs. So I'm less apprehensive than some other people about a John Wick Chapter 5. Am I a little worried? Absolutely. But then again, I'm worried about every passing John Wick movie just because all of them have been great. I trust that they're all going to be good, but at the same time, I'm always have that little bit of doubt in my mind going, you've done so well so far. Is this the one that you're going to trip up on? And honestly, all of them have been solid. So I should be excited for this. I shouldn't be cautious, but I always will be. It's just a matter of, like Tom Cruise with the Mission Impossible movies, you can't do these forever, and Keanu's also getting up there in age, and like Tom Cruise, Keanu likes to do as much of these as he possibly can. He obviously has a stunt double for a lot of these, but you gotta find a good out for the character, and many would argue that John Wick Chapter 4 was that. I would agree, but at the same time, I understand that they want to make more of these, and I never thought that his death was final enough, if that makes sense. So I think there's still stories to tell with John and the High Table. I know people, myself included, are clamoring more for spin-off movies with some of the characters that were introduced in John Wick Chapter 4, like the Tracker and especially Kane. I need a Kane movie right now. And who knows, maybe for now what the guy at Lionsgate meant by John Wick 5 is a movie that takes place after the events of John Wick 4 with different characters, but set in a John Wick universe that they're just not calling John Wick 5, or for now they're calling it John Wick 5. It could be complicated. I still firmly believe we'll see Kane in the Tracker again, but I've loved the idea of having not necessarily like an Avengers level, but of all the assassins that are still alive that are friendly with John Wick banding together to form one mega team to finally bring down the table once and for all. And who knows, maybe that's the direction Lionsgate wants to go. Maybe they want to reorganize some things. What I can absolutely see happening, though, is John is still alive, but he wanted to be off the grid permanently and fake his death. And Winston and the Tracker and everyone else helped him get that done. But then there will be something drastic that takes him out of this, and he'll want to burn the whole world down because of it. Maybe like Winston dies at the hands of the table or something like that. Or the table finds out he's alive, and then they retaliate with brutal repercussions or something like that. But the way the 4 ended, there's enough done with the table that we can close that, or we can go some other direction. I think the universe has been set up so interesting with John Wick that we can go a whole bunch of different directions and I'd still be on board. I am very curious about John Wick Chapter 5, but I'm not as negative as some other people are about this, primarily just because with 4 great movies leading up to this, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Still a little cautious about it. Well, what do you guys think? Are you excited for another John Wick movie? Or are you like, nah, 4 ended perfectly. Just end it here so we don't have a Toy Story 4 situation on our hands. Whatever your thoughts, let me know down in the comments below. I always like hearing from you guys.